Hello friends, my name is Amer Ali and I'm a project management consultant. And welcome to yet another episode of Webisode. What is value? We talk about value and bringing value to the organization. We consider value as single important factor in which organization can lead or lag. But how to deliver the value? How you can be sure that value is being delivered to the organization? Peter Drucker says that what the customer buys and consider value is never a product. It is always utility. That is what the product or services does for the customer. Being said that, we are going to dig deep with Nazif, who is doing this thing for a long time. He's a global value delivery leader with years of experience in high visibility digital transformation and complex IT projects from inception through implementation, sustainment with Fortune enterprise and startup as well. His passion is traveling around the globe and he has exposed himself to different cultures and unique exposure. It has made easy for him to work on multiple projects. He's passionate about how technology works, how it transforms the lives and livelihood of community, especially in emerging countries like Pakistan, India, Middle East, Africa, and so much more. He is based in Los Angeles, California. He's a certified project management professional, certified Scrum professional, SPM, ITL, and so much more. He covered real estate, investment management, insurance, entertainment, utility, and public health. So we would welcome Nazif to our web episode. First of all, Nazif, welcome to web episode and thank you for giving us your precious time.
Absolutely. Amir, thank you so much for inviting me. And I am really looking forward to spending a few minutes with you and your audience to talk a little bit more about this very important subject. You talked about how value can be added to outcomes. So let's start. You've done the introduction about me, so we don't need to talk a little bit more about me anymore. I
I
want
would,
to,
I would
sorry.
just add few things before moving forward to the formal. Can you share your life journey? Because I will be interested in your life journey in short sentences. And what are the three major lessons that we can learn from your journey and implement in our life? Because I ask this question from all my guests because all the time there are some lessons which we can implement in our life. So please share your journey and three lessons which we can implement in our life.
Absolutely. So my journey is I grew up in Nigeria,
Okay.
and I went to started school in Nigeria. Then from there, I went to a small island in between Turkey and North Africa called Cyprus. That's
Okay.
where I did my bachelor's degree. From
Hmm.
Cyprus, I went to the UK where I got my master's and
Hmm.
MBA from University of Leicester. Right
Okay.
after that, I moved to the States. I moved to Los Angeles. And at that time, I came to work for a .com startup. And
Okay.
since then, I've been working in various capacities as a project delivery lead within different
Okay.
industries. And recently, I've started my own small consultant, project delivery consultant. So my
Okay.
journey has really been very fascinating. I've been around the world, worked for various enterprises, but my focus has always been on project delivery. So you said
Okay.
three things you want to I can share with you. One of them is really I have this curiosity to always learn and be better at what I do. So that
Okay.
internal drive for knowledge has always been with me. And also, I like to have fun. Having fun for me is really spending time going to different places, trying different types of foods, connecting with different cultures. I think it's very important in today's world where as they say, if God wanted us all to be one race, he would have created us as one race, but he created us as
True.
as a diverse community so that we can get to
True.
know each other, right? So I truly believe in that. And that has really helped me in my career. I worked with different teams around the world. And just because of my ability to establish that rapport, that's the second factor. I have this great ability to establish a good rapport with my team, and that has helped us in hard times and in good times. So that's the second. And then third would be really, one of the things I like to do is take a step back every now and then when you're getting into a challenge. Step back, take a deep breath, and try to look at things from a different perspective. I think that is crucial, especially we in this project management role. We are really responsible for a lot of tasks within an organization, and a lot of times things don't go right. So
Okay.
take a deep breath, step back, and re-evaluate the circumstances. And obviously, talk to different team members to get perspectives. So, with that, I hope I've
Mhm.
given you a quick snapshot of my journey and the three main items that you had asked for.
Sure. You have given us more than three curious for knowledge, connecting with different culture, and especially we learned that since God want us to be different, that's why He created different culture, establish rapport, and whenever you are in a problem, get back, take a deep breath, and review where you are and how you can improve yourself. Thank you for the input. So now you can start.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, subject you gave me was how value can be added to outcomes. I think this is a very broad subject, and I feel like I might need a full dissertation to answer this, but I'm going to try in 30 minutes to give you and your audience a little bit of my take on how we
Okay.
as project leaders can add value to outcomes. But first, let me start by explaining what are outcomes, right? So
Okay.
basically, outcomes are the results of a project. We start a project, we go through the whole 9 yards of whether we're doing Agile or Scrum or Waterfall. We deliver a project, but that's a
Okay.
project. What is the intended
Okay.
result of that project? What are the events or changes in behavior that we want to deliver with that project? Those are the outcomes. And usually we say outcomes need to be very specific, measurable,
Okay. Okay.
and meaningful.
Okay.
And I touch a little bit on the changes in behavior or attitudes that is needed as a result of a project. Those are the outcomes. So
Okay.
it touches a little bit on on the psychology of our end users. So
Okay.
that's my quick definition of outcomes. So what I want to talk about in the next 10, 15 minutes before I get to my closing is what are the things that I have done
Mm-hmm.
as a project leader to really help add value to to the outcomes of my projects. And I'm really looking at this from a technology project. Some of your audience might not be in the technology field, but I think
Okay.
what I'm going to say will resonate with them. So,
Okay.
and a lot of what I'll talk about are basic items that we have heard of before, where especially if you've been through the PMI, PMBOK journey, some of the topics here, you might have heard of them, but some you might not.
Okay.
So the first item is really on projects. We need to understand the vision of the organization and also the prioritized problems to be solved of that specific business unit that you're working with. And I say prioritize problem because if you're trying to solve all the problems of an organization, that is not going
Okay.
to happen. You're
Okay.
trying to boil the ocean. So as you know, we can't boil the ocean, right? So we need
Mm-hmm.
to pick our battles. So you need to work with your stakeholders and understand the prioritized problems to be solved within the organization. And also, as a project delivery leader, you need to be a student of the business. When I say student of the business, you need to understand what the business does. What business are you in? What is what are you trying to solve? So
Okay.
having that knowledge as a project leader really, really would help you deliver value. And the reason I say that is sometimes I call project leaders mini CEOs because
Okay.
if you really think about it, what are we doing? We are given a budget, we're given resources, and we're given a specific timeline to deliver something of value.
Okay.
And we do this multiple times within an organization. And a lot of times, what we do has a huge impact to the overall organization. So I like to think of what we do really as being mini CEOs because we touch every part of the organization when we do major digital transformation projects or large projects. So,
Okay.
okay. Second item is really to understand your stakeholders. When the PMI PMBOK says stakeholder analysis, that is great, but I try to take it a step further. When I say understand the stakeholders, understand what motivates your stakeholders.
Okay.
And there's a concept called WIFM. What's in it for me? Understand what's in it for your stakeholders. And really, really important that we as project leaders understand the WIFMs of our stakeholders. That would really help us be successful. If we don't understand that, we are in trouble. So I would say paramount importance that we understand the WIFMs of our stakeholders. And when I say stakeholders, is all your stakeholders on the project. Understand what's in it for them. That way you can address what is important to them. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Third item will be make sure your project team understands the vision of the
Okay.
business so that when they understand the vision of the business and they understand the project that is at hand, you try
Okay.
to merge those two together. Have the alignment of your vision and the project. And
Okay.
that's where we as project leaders would explain to our project team members why we're doing project. We talk about the why. Why are we doing this project? Sell to our project teams the value of the project so that they can understand why we're doing what we're doing. Because
Okay.
if I'm telling my team members, oh, we need to deliver XYZ project because the CEO says we should do that, that's not enough. I need to have a compelling reason. We're delivering this project because it's going to have an impact on XYZ, and these are the outcomes we're looking for. And this, have something really, as I said, have something very specific and measurable that you can talk to your project team members and get them motivated about why we're doing projects. You will see a change in behavior. You would see
Okay.
how our project team members will go the extra mile to help us deliver value for the organization.
Okay.
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 All right. Another factor would be agree on the metrics that we're trying to measure early on.
Agree, agree on the metrics we are trying to solve.
Measure.
Agree on.
Yeah, agree on the metrics we need to measure.
Okay. So we are basically trying to find the measurable criteria, and we are trying to have one standard measurable criteria, right?
Absolutely. And agree on that early during the project. Because what I've seen projects where it's towards the end we're trying to have a measurable criteria. That's not going to work. Work with the project team and stakeholders to agree on the metrics early on, document them, make sure everybody knows what the metrics are, and measure them at the end. And
Okay.
while you're doing that, be aware of the politics of the organization, right?
Be
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 aware
aware of
of
the
the politics, but
politics
don't
of,
play it. Be aware of the politics, but don't play it.
but don't play it. Now this is a
Yes,
very important point. Don't
yes,
play it.
don't play it. You are neutral. You are there as a project lead to deliver value. Be aware of all the politics around you, but please and please do not play into the politics. Don't play it. Be
Okay.
neutral.
Okay.
Take your. That's how you ensure your career your career is successful and you have longevity in your career. Don't play the politics. Just know it.
Okay. But one thing I would like to say, in the PIM book, sixth edition, there is a line, a very interesting line which I quote in my PMP trainings. Politics is neither good nor bad. Does the project manager need to be aware how to use politics in the benefit of the project? So, what are your thoughts about that?
So I'm not a big fan in participating in the politics because obviously if you participate, you're taking one side, right, versus the
Okay,
other.
okay,
And if that side that you take can swing around and become unfavorable to you,
hmm
and you end up being on the losing end. So I prefer to be the ambassador, to be the diplomat, to stay in the middle,
okay.
be neutral. uh, I'm not sure. I haven't read the Pinback version 6. I think the last version I read was version 3 when I did my
Oh,
PMP exam.
that's a long, long time ago.
Yes. So, but what I'm saying is more of reality in my present context. Obviously, it will differ from industry to industry, from country to country. But I feel like being neutral really helps you in the long run. Maybe in the short term, you might be able to get some wins if you play the politics, but being neutral helps you overall. This is a journey, not a sprint.
This is a
Okay?
journey, not a sprint. So we
Yes,
have to be very focused that we don't take side. We are away from the politics and we have to work on our communication. Okay.
absolutely.
Being said, being said that, okay, you can carry on with your.
Uh, all right. Another concept I want to have your audience understand is really we as project leads. I keep using the words project leads, project manager. I all use them interchangeably. We need to understand the concept of total cost of ownership, TCO, total
Okay.
cost of
Total
ownership,
cost of ownership.
ownership.
Okay.
And I'll expand a little bit on that. So a lot of times we're given a budget, we're given maybe a capital expenditure or operational expenditure to execute a project.
Okay.
We need to we as a project leads need to communicate to the business or whoever is sponsoring the project. When the project is done, we think it's going to cost you XYZ to
Okay.
operate such a platform into the future. Maybe 5 year outlook is always good. 3 5 year outlook is always good. We can give them an estimate of what it thinks, and total cost of ownership really covers what is it going to cost me to run the hardware.
Okay.
What's it going to cost me to if I have any patches to update on the hardware? How much is it going to cost me to run those patches and test? How much is going to cost me if I need to write code to update the version of the software implementing? How much is it going to cost me to train users? So TCO is a broad subject. It goes into so many different facets. All I'm saying is in any organization, if you have not introduced TCO, if you start talking to your CFO about TCO, your CFO will look at you in a different way. Let me just put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
They
Can
will
you just
appreciate it.
put this concept in a different way? Because when you said that the CEO will start looking a different way, it caught everyone's eyes. So can you put some light on this?
Absolutely. So usually your CFO is more worried about your expenses, right? Your capital
Yes.
expenditure, whatever it is. He's worried about, I've given you, for example, $1 million. Are you going to spend that $1 million in this year? Are you going to go over budget? Are you going to be under budget? So they really want to have a tight control on your spending,
Okay.
and just not just today, but into the future as well. So if
Okay.
you, as the project leader, come to the TCO, if you come to your CFO with an analysis, it doesn't have to be
Okay.
accurate. It just gives them a snapshot of what you think it will
Okay.
cost operationally to run whatever you're deploying. That's why I'm saying your CFO will appreciate it, because he can use those numbers in coming up with budget estimates for the future, and it just makes his life much easier
Okay.
than just having a project. Oh, I need to go find out how much it's going to cost me to run this, how much it's going to cost me to that. So they do this today. A lot of CFOs do this by reaching out to different business units. But if they know they have a partner in the project leader, that's a huge win, and that is where you can really add value.
Okay. Okay. Got your point. Okay. Okay. Now you can carry on.
All right.
Okay.
So another area we as project leaders need to add value is, when we're working on a project, let's make sure we have assigned responsibility and assignments. I like to use the RACI a lot, the RACI
Okay.
chart, because that really helps. For example, if I'm working on, let's say, a cloud migration project, I'm
Okay.
migrating some applications from on-premise to the cloud. I, as a project manager, I always tell my teams and my stakeholders, I am not the subject matter expert. I am not the cloud architect.
Okay.
I try to make sure I have a subject matter expert, and I defer any questions or any issues to the subject matter expert. And that's important, because sometimes we as project managers try to put on so many hats, and
Okay.
we try to do so much. And
Okay.
obviously, even if I'm a cloud expert on the projects, I try to make sure I am not the project manager and I'm not the cloud expert at the same time. So I
Okay.
try to, this is what I call stay in your swim lane, stay in your lane. Just like when you
Stay in
stay
your
in your
lane.
lane. Yes. Stay
Do
in your
what you
lane.
do.
Do
Stay
what
in
you
your
do.
lane.
Right. I think
Okay.
that's important, because once you have that clear definition of responsibilities, the team appreciates that, and even your stakeholders know that, okay, there's a problem, or I need this. They go to you as a project manager as a single point of contact, but they know you are not responsible for getting the answers, but you're reaching out to other team members. Okay.
Okay. Okay. One thing I would like to know, that when we talk about staying in your lane, isn't this the against the principle of agile? Because when we are doing agile things, we try to have generalized specialists in an organization. And when you are having generalized specialists, we are training the complete team on various tasks. In that way, everyone is jumping out of their lane, and they are knowing what other person is doing, so that we can run agile technology smoothly.
Good question. I mean, Agile still has discipline, right? For example, I, as a project manager, when I'm running an Agile project, I'm usually the Scrum Master,
Okay.
but I'm not the product owner.
Okay.
So I still stay in my lane, wearing that Scrum Master hat, which which is really the PM in the conventional way. So you are still staying in your lane. You're still focused on, running the agile ceremonies and doing what you need to do to move your project forward. So I hope I have answered that.
Yes, you have answered that, but still, I would like much more clearance. Then, how we become generalized specialists when we are not focusing on the bigger picture? That, for example, right now, you are maybe the coding person, or you may be the architect. If the architect leave, or God forbid, due to coronavirus, he is unable to go there because we have a pandemic, a big risk at our hand. The
Mhm.
project can suffer badly. So, how can we work on that thing?
So I guess that's where your risk management comes into place as a scrum master. Still, that's where you look at, okay, in your example, you have your lead developer out of the project. Okay, what can you do? How can you backfill that role? Can you look at the organization, maybe borrow another resource from another project? I don't expect you as a scrum master or project
Mhm.
manager to step in and do the coding.
Okay, agreed.
Yep. Or
Well,
another option is, if you don't have the resources internally, does your budget allow you to hire somebody for the time being, an external resource to backfill. So, all again, this is all around the risk management and resource planning that we do as project leads. Again, I'm still staying in my lane, fulfilling that role. I'm never stepping in and being the developer.
Okay. Now, since you have touched the risk management, it's one of my favorite topics. I always ask agile consultants this question. In predictive environment, traditional waterfall, we have a complete approach for risk management. Whereas when you are talking about agile methodology, there is no direct way of risk management. There is no direct method specifically for risk management in agile terminologies. So, how to do risk management in agile projects?
So, good question, right? I mean, a lot of what you read around agile, I call it, it's a plain vanilla flavor. It's like having ice cream. That's agile is a plain vanilla. You need to sprinkle in your own extra flavor on top of vanilla. I like chocolate, right? So I
Okay.
add chocolate on top of vanilla. So in this case, what I'm saying is, yes, agile doesn't really talk about risk management. However, we have that knowledge. It's built in our DNA. That
Okay.
doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking out for risks and documenting them. I tell you, on a lot of the agile projects I run, I still maintain risk logs. Okay,
Okay.
because really you have to do what makes sense for you to deliver value. I believe the concepts are concepts, they are frameworks to
Okay.
to give you a baseline, but you need to bring some of your toolkits from the old world of doing things into today's world.
Okay, so we have to bring the methodologies and have to tailor it, customize it according to our need. Okay,
Absolutely,
okay,
absolutely.
please carry on.
All right, so we're almost at time.
Yes, yes, we
So
have
ba-
to.
yeah, so basically, in closing, one of the things that I like to say is really for us to deliver value, we need to go back to our WIFMs. What's in it for me? How do we link value to the stakeholders? What's to the stakeholders' WIFMs? Sometimes we even do a mapping sheet where we have all our stakeholders listed, and we figure out what is their tipping point, what is their point of pain, how do we address that so that at the end of the project they perceive value and they realize value.
Okay,
And another really important thing I try to do in a lot of my projects is we try to have some reinforcements.
hmm.
So have you heard of the ADKAR model, the ProSci? It's a change management model called ADKAR.
No, can you explain it?
Sure, it's ADKAR. It's called ADKAR.
Okay, what is that?
Absolutely. So ADKAR is a change management. It's from an organization called ProSci, PROSCI.
Okay,
Ad, ADKAR is awareness of you create an awareness of the change. That's
okay,
a, that's a A. D
okay,
is the desire to support the change.
okay,
K is knowledge of how to change.
okay,
A is the ability to demonstrate skills and behaviors. And
okay,
finally, R is reinforcement to make the change stick. And I focus on R, the reinforcement, in really delivering value. What is reinforcement to make the change stick? If you want, we can do a whole session on ADKAR.
yeah, yes, maybe. Because I really like it, and I really like the acronym: the awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. I really
Absolutely.
would have a session just focus on Edgar so that we can really work how to reinforce and how to work on this thing.
Absolutely, and happy to do that. So the reinforcement is really um, how do we make sure that change stick? And a lot of things that we've done in my projects or programs is what we call hypercare or sustainment, or what we call white glove service, where you're really helping your users to understand what you've delivered. That
Mm-hmm.
way, what I mean, I'm talking from a technology project perspective here. That way, whatever solution you've developed and implemented, your end users know how to use it, and it's not a challenge. It's what we call frictionless adoption,
Okay.
and that way they're not scared, because honestly, when you're delivering a huge project, sometimes organizations have been used to working in certain ways for 20, 30 years, and you're coming in and you're changing the way people work every day. That is a big deal, right? That
True.
is a big deal. So
True.
that's why I kind of emphasize on this reinforcement in really realizing the value of the outcome. And
Okay.
and lastly, one thing that we should do is really measure, have we delivered the value that the project intended to do? And we have a lot of business realization templates that are out there where you can measure, okay, have you delivered the value? And
Sure.
if not, what can you do to correct that action? If you've delivered the value, where is the value on the scale? Is it where it
Okay.
should be? So um, I think that is very important, because again, we start this huge journeys of our projects could be multi-year projects, and sometimes we change team members, and or even we project managers change from one project to the other. But it's very important, when we end the project, we are really measuring value, because ultimately that's why the organization has our role to help them deliver value. It's not just deliver the product, deliver a platform, but it's value that would change the organization. So with that, I think we're
Yes.
almost at time. I hope I have talked a little bit. This is a very wide subject, Amir. I hope I've touched a little bit about value in the 30 minutes I have, and I'm happy to take a few questions if you have any.
Okay. Uh, First of all, thank you for giving us the value, the maximum value, I think, for any web episode in this 30 to 35 minutes. And really, I would like to host you again, especially discussing this EDGAR model: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. I will like to add something for our audience and you. And now in PMP, we also have benefit management plan. In Even before the project charter is made, benefit management plan is made, and from there, benefit management plan is made. From there, when your project gets closed, we measure that the value the organization was looking, has it been delivered or not. So you can also see now PMP is also moving towards agile, and they have adopted the agility you guys
Yes.
were talking for many years, that this waterfall methodology is not anymore relevant to it. Being said that, I think we are already on time. We have many questions, but we cannot go on time because we have to deliver value within time. We have to end the session. But just one last question. Communication is extremely important in the project. Without communication, you cannot achieve anything. What do you think? What are the top three skills, top three things anyone can do to have an effective communication on the projects?
Listen first. Listen to learn. Listen to hear
Listen.
what. Listen to learn. Listen to hear what your stakeholders are saying. Don't
Okay.
listen to have a response.
Okay, listen to learn.
Correct.
Okay,
And when you've listened, and when you've heard, when you've absorbed all the content or all the input that you're getting,
okay,
collaborate.
collaborate.
Collaborate. You as a project lead don't have all the answers.
Agreed.
Collaborate with your team, and
Okay,
once you have collaborated and you figured out a response, you should take the lead in the communication back to your stakeholders. Obviously, I'm sure the PMBOK still says the project manager spends X percentage of their time communicating, right?
yes,
That is still
yeah,
vital.
that is
That
still right.
that is still vital till tomorrow. So again, listen, collaborate, and then communicate.
Listen, collaborate, and communicate. You summarized in the best way. So thank you very much, Nazif, for giving your time. And surely in the coming month, we will have a webisode on this ADCAR model where you're explaining how to enforce if you have time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Amir. Thank you so much. And I
Thank
hope your audience have been able to grasp from me today. And I look forward to coming back and talking a lot more about art car or anything else you want. Have a great
thank
day.
thank you. Customer centricity should be about delivering value for customer that will eventually create value for the company. The more you focus on the value of your product services, the more you focus on the value of your product or services, the less important the price becomes. Friends, the price of iPhone is maybe $1,100, $1,300, and people are lining for so long, maybe for 16 hours, for 18 hours, 24 hours to get their iPhone. This happens not one time, not two times, every time. Why? Because in the golden words of Brian Tracy, the more you focus on the value of your product or services, the less important the price becomes. Price does not matter. Even today, the things that are more expensive, they are sold more early. The things that are less expensive, in many cases, they are not sold. So focus on your value. Focus how you can add more value. Focus how you can make your brand. Because as Jeff Bezos says, your brand is what people say about your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. So with this, we end this web episode, and we hope that you focus on value. You focus on giving 100% value, not taking anything and giving 100% value each and every time, and you will be among the 1% in your organization. Thank you very much.